Hello and welcome to Project Marlin. It's been a bit of a while since I did an update. We went out about a week or so ago. Well, I suppose I'll bring you up to speed really. For a week I was not able to get over to the truck because I was doing my HGV Cat C licence and training, which I'm quite pleased to say that I passed. So once the Marlin's all working, I'm actually able to drive it now, which will be helpful. The week after that, the weather was terrible, had lots of things on, so not really been over there. Did manage to get over and start to drain the coolant out. Well, I drained the coolant and refilled the coolant, and I will start with that, I think.
So today I've forgotten the big camera. But my main thing is I want to get the coolant drained and refilled with the new stuff I've got. New stuff I think conforms to all of the Detroit standards, all the standards it needs to for the Detroit engine. The stuff that's in it, it's a bit weak. I don't know if it conforms, it's not the right colour, although that's not always the thing to go off of. I'm trying to drain it in a controlled manner, so I'm using the drain valve on this cooler. However, it's going to take a long time. I believe there's best part of 40 odd litres just in the engine block. It's probably the same in the radiator as well. So we're going to get this all drained out. We'll chuck 20 litres of water through it just to try to flush it out a little bit, and then we'll refill it. So it's going to be a long day by the look of it. Well, you've heard this tale of two cities. This seems to be the tale of two air compressors. So down here we've got the electric auxiliary air compressor for when it's parked up. That runs when the thing's plugged into the mains, or it should do. I think it's disconnected, and it keeps the air system charged up ready for a fire. Now over here we have the main air compressor that runs off the engine, and you can see the steel pipe comes out at the back of it to the right hand side, runs towards us and then down. It goes under the bell housing and it joins a rubber pipe. Now both of these go off to the air dryer.
So as you can see, the coolant was taking quite a while to drain out. We managed to get it all drained. It took quite a few hours to drain out, and unfortunately I've got no more of that because I was using my phone to record it, and my phone died. Completely died. I managed to get the video off that I started, but I've had to actually get a new phone. So what happened was, after we drained it down, I refilled it. I still need to put some more coolant in. I was expecting it to use about 80 litres. I've put 135 litres in it, which I think works out around about 30 gallons if you're American, or work on those sort of figures. So I need a bit more coolant. It's up within its, between its minimum and maximum, but a bit more wouldn't hurt, and some spare wouldn't hurt. So today I've been over again, first time in just over a week, and I've started looking at the air system. So we'll carry on from where I started looking at the air system, I think. And here we have the air dryer. It appears to be the same as off a Leyland Olympian bus, as far as I can tell. But you can see here, that's the auxiliary air in from the little electric compressor. And from as far as I can tell, I've tried tracing the pipes, but I'm not having a lot of success. I think I might take this pipe off and fire the engine up to see if it vents. I think this is the air in from the main air compressor, and that's the air out, because I've tried tracing the pipes, but they go into quite a bit of a tight spot on the chassis there, and I can't really see. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you have one pipe coming in on? Why would this be? Maybe you just don't want to. You're not worried about drying the air off here because shouldn't be outside. That makes more sense. So that'd be pumping the tanks up straight away, whereas the air dryer wouldn't actually be working, would it? Obviously down here, this is the unloader line that operates off of the main compressor. But the unloader for the electric compressor is all built into its electric switch, which is pretty much the same as the ones that you get on a compressor you'd buy from Whole Foods or Machine Mart or somewhere like that. In fact, I'll just shoot back around the other side and show you that. So there's the unloader valve and pressure switch for the electric air compressor, and that's pretty much nearly identical to one that I've got on a cheap SIP air compressor back at home. So that's that. Now I'm going to try and work out where the air runs forward to. I'm going to try and work out why we've got no air to the handbrake today. Although I've already been distracted in looking at the PTO, so we'll have a look at that before I go home as well, if it's still light. Right, so I've made my way to the front here. These two air tanks are for the foot brake. There's another 2 foot brake ones, another foot brake one further back, an auxiliary and a secondary brake one, and one that's not labelled. But I'm a bit, the pipe I was following that I thought was an air pipe, in fact it goes to the steering box, which is just here. It goes to the steering box, so it's not what I thought. I can't really, I've got to get my head around what's wrong with this air system. I know why the foot brakes don't work. It's because these pipes are absolutely shot. Look, these ones here, they're all broken, and these are have run out. Because amazingly, it's air over hydraulics. I don't know if you can see. That's an absolutely, there you go, that's a bit better. Absolutely massive caliper, and there's 2 of those on each wheel. Well, there's 1 each on the back axle, but 2 on each wheel on the other 2 axles. One thing I'm a bit confused about is up there. Oh, I can't see. If I move it to the side, you'll see. There's those 2 pipes and that union in the middle that's not connected to anything. That comes off the bottom of the handbrake valve. Now I reckon that middle one should be connected to an air supply, but I don't know. I can't work out where it would have connected to. But I think that's why my handbrake doesn't work. So a bit more investigation to be done, I think. Right, so I've been chasing some pipes. I'm not doing very well. One of the blue pipes from the handbrake comes back to this valve here, and it's got a green pipe going in, which seems to be auxiliary, 2 red pipes going in, and a blue pipe. So I think it's a priority valve. If it is a priority valve, it could be stuck, but I don't know. So I'm umming and ahhing about taking this one off. I'm going to have a look to see where some of the other pipes go. I just don't know. I wish I had a diagram for the damn thing, to be quite honest, but there we go. It's all good fun. Well, it's a bit echoey, but I've found some more air valves. A bit difficult to get to. They're down the side of the transmission, and looking into the water tank, there's an access plate that goes down towards the transmission, so I thought, well, if I can get that off, we'll see if we can see a bit better. Just be interesting to see what's under the access plate, really. The valves at the side of the transmission look a bit manky. I'm hoping that they're not the problem, unless it's easy to get to, because that'll be a pig. It might even be a tank off job, and that's outside of my capabilities currently. But I'm inside the water tank, so I don't know how I'm getting back out. It's going to be a nightmare. But we'll have a look around, a quick explore, I think. See what happens. I've just got to work out how to turn this damn camera back round. Oops, not like that. I'll come back to this. Right, so here's the access plate on the floor. Not very exciting. Here's a load of water level switches. So this one comes up to tell you there's some water, and these all close as it gets higher up. Now, I'm not sure if that's the right way up or not, because it is showing it's got water in the tank, but it hasn't. So I think that's the wrong way up, that one. I have used these before, actually in my old job. That was quite interesting. There's one of the hatches, the one with the drain in it. Here's the grill to stop rubbish going in the pump. You've got, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little hole there that allows the water to drain because it's got there's a drain cock and it dumps out the bottom of the tank. And just here, there's a bulge in the floor, and that's the main flow to the pump. But really cool. I like stuff like this. If I come through here, oh my god, there's water in this tank. It's wet. This may be not such a good idea. There's another section here. That wall there, not too exciting, will be where the foam tank is. You won't get me climbing the side of that, I'll tell you that for nothing. It's disgusting. That foam stinks, it's sticky. Okay, so if we go through this one, I won't go through there because that's in the way. That's the drain pipe that dumps out the bottom for the overflow. So if we go back, so if I go through the other side, do apologise and go to there might be some bad language in a minute. Tell you what, I'm not faster than I am. This will be really difficult. Somebody said to me, why don't you turn it into a camper? Mainly because this water tank would have to be the camper, and it's only about 4 foot tall, if that. So there we go. That might be. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be in the crystal maze. I've changed my mind. I don't. I think it'd be a silly idea. That's my foot stuck. Right, so that's the hatch I came in through, but I came in through the other side of there. It's a bit narrow, it's quite tall. There is this one, which isn't quite so bad, but somebody's kindly put a ladder rack in the way, which is going to come off. There's the other side of the tank. Actually, I'm going to go over here and see if I can get a. Oh, excuse me. Getting to this next bit, you can have a look at the water inlets. I think. Would you bend over? Oh dear. There's stainless steel pipes there. To go up to the bracket, there's some on the other side as well. And that's the water inlet from down at the side by the rear wheels. Anyway, I'm going to try and get back to my tools and open that access plate, and I'll come back once I've got it up. Let's put that on the other one, it looks better. There we go. We've got the plate up, and there is the top of gearbox. That's a sort of bell housing in the end. Sort of like an oily thing. Yeah, a big bit of gearbox. It looks like the valve chest, I think. There's like a controller there. That sort of thing. You can see the red dipstick. Not very useful with it being there. However, the truck does have another dipstick for that. There's the prop shaft that runs the PTO, so I can get to that to grease it. The valves I want to look at, you can't see, can you see down there? Not really, because of the light. Are down there, basically, so this doesn't really help. However, I have found 2 butterflies, which is a bit random. It's interesting looking in here, but, well, shut up, actually, it is useful. There's the thing for the kick down, which I think is causing the throttle to stick. So I can get to that, which is quite useful. Other than that, it's been an interesting waste of time, I think. I have a bit more of a poke about, and there's another butterfly there. I know. Oh my god, there's millions of the bloody things. That is absolutely crazy. So I was talking about the foam tank and not getting in it. I've lifted the cover up. This is the checker plate cover behind the monitor, and stinks. It's this is. I hope I don't drop my phone. I'll be pissed if I do. This is the thing. Oh my god! Look at the state of that. That there is what's left of the level sender. It's obviously knackered and it needs to come out. This stuff is disgusting. It's disgusting, it's corrosive. The only thing this tank's not going to have in it again is water. I'm not putting that stuff in there again. Yeah, I mean, the thing's never going to be used on an airfield. The chances of it ever seeing an aviation fire is pretty slim. And you can see it's all sat down there. I need to get a hose pipe really up here and try and wash some of that out. In fact, I've got 20 litres of water I can pour in there, go out through the drain, but I need to find out how nasty that stuff is before I start pouring it on the ground. Yeah, so that's the foam tank. So I don't know if you're going to hear this or not, because it's quite noisy up here and I've got earphones on, so trying to explain. Messing about a bit. As usual, I'm distracted. We're looking at the valve up here. I've got a supply pipes here. Air actuator, a little valve, quite runs off down to there we go, this little air actuator. That's actually a brake shoe pushing on the PTO shaft. That's supposed to that. And also, those pipes going up over that board there. There's something not working with it. But if I push it down, just about make out PTO there. I'll push this down. Pump run in. There. Put it back up. Puts the brake on, comes to stop. Why it's not working, I don't know. It's not really important, but it's something to be wondering about. So it's nice to be able to put that idea to bed. Just a quick explanation of all the mumbling and that quite bad quality sound just then. I got distracted, decided to have a look at the PTO before I went any further and stripped anything down that meant I couldn't run it. The first thing I'm pointing at is a hydraulic valve block that's got some air actuators on it. After that, point down, you'll see a little air ram, and it's basically like a brake shoe that sits over the top of the flange on the prop shaft for the PTO. Also point to a board with some solenoids on, which seems to control that system, but it's not working. For some reason, the light on the dashboard lights up green to say the PTO is engaged all of the time. When you enable the fire system, it always lights up green. You press the stop button for the PTO, it doesn't change to red to show it's stopped. However, it doesn't actually engage the PTO even if you press the start button. So what you'll see then is I'll go back to the valve block, point the camera down towards the PTO shaft, and manually push the valve down. And it engages. As soon as you push it down, PTO kicks in, which means the pump's running. It runs for a few seconds. I pull it back up to the stop position, and the PTO stops quite quickly, because as soon as you pull it up to the stop position, it then applies the brake. Brake's not particularly brilliant, but it does slow it down quite a lot quicker than it would without that. So that's basically what that last piece of video was. I thought I'd quickly explain it, seeing as the audio is really bad because of the engine's running. Well, I've got this this valve off. It's answered a few questions. Basically, it's I can't remember what it was called when I looked up the part number on it, but as I understand it, it's like a priority valve, so make sure that your main foot brake always gets priority for the air, and then it diverts off to
do other things afterwards. So we've got, looking at it, we've got 2 outputs for foot brake, 1 outlet that does your handbrake and 1 outlet that does your auxiliary air. Now handbrake I think should charge before auxiliary air, but it doesn't. Also, if you see the circular bit in the middle held in by a circlet, that leaks. I know this leaks because I put my hand by it a minute ago and there's air coming out when I had the engine running, so that needs looking at. So anyway, I thought one of the red pipes going in, which you can see there, there's one there and there's another one. I thought one of those would be your main air in, or possibly the big green one, but the green one I think is auxiliary. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. So I took all the pipes off. I thought, alright, so I put my hand around the back and have a look at the bolts. And there's, oh, it's not focusing very well, is it? Oh, there we go. There's a nice big union there, which is, oh, that pipe there, which is really, really good because you can't see it from the other side. It is literally, I don't know if you can see, not really. I will try and get a better shot at some point, maybe when I put it back on. That appears to be the hard line coming from the air dryer. So this is the air comes from the air dryer to this and then diverts everywhere else. So sort this out, it will fix my air charging problem on the handbrake tank. What it won't fix is why my handbrake's got no air. So we'll get this one fixed or replaced or whatever we need to do with it, and then we'll get on and work out why there's no air up to the handbrake.
Well, that just about wraps it up really. It's been one of those days. As usual, I've not managed to stick to one thing. I've ended up jumping around a bit, playing with the PTO, ended up in the water tank. At one point I thought I was going to be stuck in the water tank, but luckily I wasn't. Really enjoyed myself. After the videos ended, I stopped filming. I did actually take the air dryer off, so I've got the priority valve, and I've also got the air dryer. So my plan is tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'm going to get in the garage, I'm going to strip them down, I'm going to see if I can fix the priority valve, and I'm going to take the air dryer apart to try and find out what I need to service it, and then I'll try and track the bits down. Hopefully we'll be able to get the bits back onto the truck fairly quickly, because as it stands I can't even start it without the air dryer and the priority valve. Well, it's not entirely true, I can start it, however you need air pressure to be able to shut it down because it's an air operated stop. So at the moment it's got no throttle and no stop system. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed these videos, please click like, please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Again, any questions, any comments, it'd be fantastic to hear them, and hopefully we'll have a more technical video coming up with me stripping some parts down in the next few days. So I'll see you again soon, so toodle pip.